ولن ترضى عنك اليهود ولا النصارى حتى تتبع ملتهم قل إن هدى الله هو الهدى ولئن اتبعت أهواءهم بعد الذي جاءك من العلم ما لك من الله من ولي ولا نصير. Never will the Jews or Christians be pleased with you until you follow their faith. Say, Allah's guidance is the only true guidance. And if you were to follow their desires, after all the knowledge that has come to you, there would be none to protect or help you against Allah. In this verse of the Qur'Ānic Gems, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and sounds a warning for the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam till the day of Qiyamah in regard to imitating and following the ways of the Jews and the Christians. The truth of the matter was, when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was sent as a mercy for humanity and mankind in totality, then at times he would feel that he should be lenient with the Jews and Christians so that they can accept Islam. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and informs him that he should be firm on the teachings of Deen and Sharia. He should be firm on the teachings of Islam. If the Jews and Christians would like to accept Islam, then they should and they must accept it as it has been revealed to you, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. We will not change the rules and laws based on the desires of the Jews and Christians. Why? Because they want you to follow their religion, their purport and purpose of them seeking for lenience, seeking and objecting towards certain rules and ahkam of Sharia is so that effectively you will then follow their ways and their path. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse uses the word ahwa. وَلَئِنِ اتَّبَعْتَ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ. If you were to follow their desires. So effectively, they do not want to accept Islam. They do not want to come into the fold of Islam. They want name and fame. They want to follow their desires. They do not want to follow the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nor do they want to follow your guidance, O Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. In one narration it appears that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, there will be a group amongst the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam who will remain steadfast on haqq, who will remain steadfast on the truth, and nothing will stop them from going astray from the truth. They will practice on the truth, they will propagate the truth, and they will not let anything stand in front of them. So the crux of this verse is that no matter what we do in our lives, whether it is to do with our day-to-day living standards, whether it is to do with our work habits, whether it is to do with our religion, we will not forsake Islam. We will not follow the ways of the Jews and Christians. We will not submit to their whims and fancies. We will fully submit to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We will practice on that Islam, on that religion and deen and sharia that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam came with, without altering anything, without changing anything, without going and facing our desires and living our lives in accordance to our desires, lest the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes for us if we live our lives in accordance to and by following the ways of the Jews and the Christians. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala signs a warning here that if one does follow the ways of the Jews and the Christians, then مَا لَكَ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ وَلِيٍّ وَلَا نَصِيرٍ. No help and no support from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for those who wish to choose the ways of the Jews and the Christians. This is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has clearly stated in this verse, قُلْ إِنَّ هُدَى اللَّهِ هُوَ الْهُدَى, that verily the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only guidance, which means that, O Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the guidance of Allah ta'ala that He sent you to this ummah with is true guidance. It is straight, it is perfect, and it is a comprehensive religion. Qatada rahimahullah said in regard to this part of this verse, قُلْ إِنَّ هُدَى اللَّهِ هُوَ الْهُدَى. This is a true argument that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and his companions. And this is the verse of the Qur'an that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum used against the people of misguidance. So in essence, this verse of the Qur'Ānic Kareem carries a stern warning for the Muslim Ummah against imitating the ways and methods of the Jews and Christians after they have acquired knowledge of the Quran and Sunnah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us refuge from such behavior. Although, once again, the speech is in this ayah directed to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the ruling of which applies to the entire ummah till the day of Qiyamah.